We are live at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina for the Heinz Southern 500, a race steeped in tradition. And once again, thousands of spectators have turned out for this Labor Day weekend race. There's a lot at stake here this afternoon. Darrell Waltrip, eligible for $1 million. We'll tell you more about that in just a moment. And there is a live shot of Darrell Waltrip as he gets strapped in the race car, ready to go for $1 million. Let's go down and talk to him. Here is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, the book on Darrell Waltrip is 78 Winston Cup wins, 3 Winston Cup championships, and a career leading over $9.5 million in earnings. But the two jewels missing from Darrell Waltrip's crown are the Southern 500 win and the Winston Million. And Darrell, you could collect both of those today.
I know that. You know, it's going to be a tough day. We've done everything we can physically do, humanly do. It's up to the good Lord and good luck and just what happens out here on this racetrack. I wish the weather wasn't like this. We were planning on it being hot and sunny. We're using a cool suit today to kind of compensate for that. Thought that was going to be an advantage for us. Right now, you know, we don't know what they anticipate. So we just go run hard and try to bring home that $1 million. I believe I can do it. I feel good. I'm ready.
You've been so relaxed all week long. 4 years ago, Bill Elliott said he couldn't even breathe. He couldn't sleep at night. You've been so relaxed and poised in the garage area. The crew's been sort of laughing and joking, but now it's all business.
Yeah, I was good until this morning. I got tightened up a little bit this morning. The reality of it all and the chance to run one race for $1 million is just an incredible thing. Although the other races the rest of this year are going to lead to $1 million, this is a one-shot deal here. I just thank Tide and Rick Hendrick and my whole crew that have done a fantastic job of helping me win these races to get to this point. Whether we win or not, we've had, I'm proud of these guys, and we've had a good year. And a lot of things have happened to this team this year that I'm really thankful for and proud of. And I just pray we have a safe day and we'll give the credit to the Lord.
Here's a look at the track, too tough to tame. It's 1.366 miles in length. The pole lap time was 30.705 seconds. The speed, 160.156 miles an hour. The banking is at 24 degrees. We'll go 367 laps. They'll be able to go 70 to 75 laps before a fuel stop. Here's the starting lineup for today. Alan Kowicki will be on the pole, his 4th pole of the year and 2nd straight. Ken Schrader will be outside of row number 1 in the Folgers Coffee Chevrolet. In row number 2 for this afternoon's race, it'll be Mark Martin in car number 6, the Stroh-Light Ford. He won the pole here in the spring at Darlington. Outside of row number 2 will be Bill Elliott in car number 9, the Coors Ford. Bill is from Dawsonville, Georgia. In row number 3 for this afternoon's Southern 500, it's Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri. He'll drive the number 27 Kodiak Pontiac. And then starting in 6th position will be Harry Gant from Taylorsville, North Carolina in the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile, car number 33. Going to row number 4 on the inside will be Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, car number 5. Outside row number 4 in 8th position is Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the number 26 Quaker State Buick. Going to the 9th starting position now will be Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, the Tide Chevrolet, eligible for $1 million. Starting in 10th position outside of row number 5 will be Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina. He's in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. In row number 6 will be Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York. He drives the Motorcraft Ford, car number 15. And then starting in 12th position, in car number 10, Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington in the Purolator Pontiac. Starting in 13th position will be Rick Wilson. 14th is Dick Trickle. And in the 8th row, Michael Waltrip and Sterling Marlin. And as we look at the rest of the starting lineup, gentlemen, the tension is building, isn't it?
No doubt about it. You know, Darrell Waltrip mentioned he'd like to see the sun shining. Well, as they're about to get the green flag, the sun is coming out. Some of the clouds have dissipated a little bit, so he might get his wish in that respect.
I tell you, this is exciting.
Yeah, it is.
As Dick Berggren said on pit road, not only on pit road, guys, but in the booth, it is exciting. One race, $1 million.
He has odds against him, no question about that, but Darrell Waltrip is very confident that he can pull off the victory here this afternoon. We have 3 in-car cameras for you this afternoon. One will be with Harry Gant, who won this race, at least here at Darlington in the spring. We have a bumper cam on his car. We're looking back at Ricky Rudd in the Quaker State Buick. Also, we have an in-car camera riding with Hut Strickland in the Heinz sponsored car this afternoon. Just ahead of him is Jimmy Spencer and Terry Labonte. And we'll be watching him, and we'll be watching Alan Kulwicki as he tries to pick up the Unical Challenge money. We'll also have an in-car camera with him. You see him shifting up through the gears and getting ready for a start of this 500-mile race. There is Alan. Well, the weather is overcast here. It has been very, very hot and humid since we arrived. It did rain just a little bit earlier today, and it's slightly less humid. The clouds remain. However, as Ned just told you, the clouds are dissipating somewhat. It looks like a great afternoon of racing. Let's go to Dick Berggren quickly.
Some interesting statistics, Bob Jenkins. In the last 3 races, when Alan Kulwicki won the pole, Darrell Waltrip won the race. In Atlanta, Kulwicki won the pole. Waltrip started 4th and won. Waltrip started 4th again in Charlotte when Kulwicki won the pole, and Waltrip won. At Bristol last week, Waltrip started 9th. Kulwicki started on the pole. Waltrip won. Guess where Darrell Waltrip starts today? Right, 9th. But there's one more item here, and that is that the last time Alan Kulwicki signed a sponsor contract during race week was at Phoenix last year, and you know the story there. He won the race. So maybe he'll do it here today, too. Jerry Punch, what's going to happen with you?
Well, a lot of statistics for Darrell Waltrip also, but you mentioned Alan Kulwicki, and you know the fact that 4 of the last 5 Southern 500s have been won from the pole. And Alan Kulwicki says, hey, if I can do that today, it'll be a great weekend. He signed a new contract with his sponsor. He'll pick up $144,000 plus the purse money here, so almost $250,000 to Alan Kulwicki. So it could be a red letter day, history making here in the Southern 500. Bob?
Thank you, gentlemen, and you will see that $1 million will buy, among other things, 100,100 gallons of antifreeze that Alan Kulwicki might want for his Xerox Ford.
I can get that wholesale for you, Bob. We get more than that.
Davey Allison had a rather poor qualifying effort here this weekend. He's starting way back in 25th position.
But look for him to come up through the pack. I think he has his car working much better. There he is alongside of Dale Jarrett in the Hardee's Pontiac. And I believe that both of those drivers will make moves towards the front as we're about ready to go for green.
The Heinz Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina is about to begin. Darrell Waltrip sets off to win $1 million, and Alan Kulwicki grabs the lead going to turn 1.
Boy, did he get a good jump on the start of the race.
The 39-car field makes it safely through the first and second turns, and now Alan Kulwicki is already at the end of the backstretch. There is Darrell Waltrip alongside Harry Gant as the cars now are in the banking between turns 3 and 4. Here's Kulwicki leading. Rusty Wallace has gone into second position, and here is the battle as Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip battle side by side. Harry Gant is also right there in car number 33. Waltrip not really making a big move to the front at this moment. We're inside Harry Gant, Skull Bandit. Now there's the bumper cam as we look back on Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell certainly is not going to take any chances at this stage of the race, and not really until late in the race. He wants to keep himself as clean as possible out there, not too close to other cars.
He is still in 9th position. He began from 9th and still is. Ricky Rudd is right behind him in 10th. He's been telling us all weekend long, you can't beat yourself here at Darlington. You've got to take it easy and watch what happens, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. Alan Kulwicki has the lead of the Southern 500, with Rusty Wallace running in second position. Third is Ken Schrader. Fourth is Mark Martin. Bill Elliott runs fifth. Jeff Bodine is sixth. Dale Earnhardt seventh. Harry Gant is eighth. Darrell Waltrip ninth, and Ricky Rudd 10th.
And that, Bob Jenkins, is a classic statement. You cannot let this racetrack beat you. The first 300 miles, you've got to race the racetrack. Keep the car in one piece, and then race the race cars with what you have left.
Lap number 4 is complete. There you can see the interval between the leader and Waltrip, running back in 9th spot.
He can still see the leader, and that's all he wants to do is just to be able to keep him in sight within a quarter of a lap or maybe even a half a lap. His car is running good enough that he can stay within sight of the leader.
There's the leader, Alan Kulwicki, as he has opened up a little bit of an advantage on second place, Rusty Wallace. We have just begun the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. We'll be back with more in just a moment. With 7 of 367 laps completed in the Heinz Southern 500, Alan Kulwicki is the leader, Rusty Wallace second, followed by Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, and Bill Elliott. 6 through 10, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Harry Gant, Darrell Waltrip, and Ricky Rudd. There is Kulwicki as he comes off corner number 4, about to complete lap number 8.
He got himself a good jump on the start of the race, Bob, and has maintained a pretty good distance in front of Rusty Wallace, who is running in second place. Ken Schrader running in third. Fourth is Mark Martin, and fifth, Bill Elliott.
And I think that all these drivers are doing just exactly like we talked about Darrell Waltrip a moment ago. They're basically letting the racetrack, just watching the racetrack. Don't use your car up too early.
We're watching the race here for 7th position. Jeff Bodine in car number 5, and now we are riding with Harry Gant, who is in 8th spot at the moment.
You can see the car bounce as they go down the front straightaway here into the first turn. The pavement is a little uneven from the start-finish line down towards turn 1. See Jeff Bodine moving on the outside of the car being lapped there already. James Hilton going a lap down.
Once again, 7th and 8th, Jeff Bodine and Harry Gant, who won the Trans-South 500 in the spring here at Darlington.
And of course, he won the Gatorade 200 Busch Grand National race here just yesterday.
Davey Allison started in 28th position and is having trouble moving through the field. He started in 25th position.
He's picked up a few positions, though, Bob. He's doing it very carefully, but he has picked up several positions. Looks like his car is working pretty well as it goes high into the turn, sort of makes the V out of that turn, then comes back down to the inside. That's the way that we'll see most of them going through that turn 1 and 2 today.
That's Ernie Irvin in car number 2, right behind Davey Allison, who was married last Wednesday. And Jimmy Spencer in the number 88 car that's behind Ernie Irvin.
Rusty Wallace now has closed in a little bit on Alan Kulwicki.
Yes, just a car length or 2 back, and he's just done this in the last lap or 2. So either Rusty Wallace has found a great combination, or Kulwicki's slowing down a little bit.
And Bill Elliott is slowing on the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt just blew by him on the outside, and Elliott may have a problem, although it appears as if the car is running okay now. But boy, Dale Earnhardt just went by like a rocket ship.
Bob, I went by and talked to Ernie up this morning, Bill's brother, and also the crew chief on that Ford. He told me they changed 3 springs, a sway bar, and the weight distribution this morning. So I think that they're probably going to have some caution flags and do some adjusting all during the race if they're going to get that car correct.
Bill probably just trying to sort it out right now here early in the race. Maybe not working as perfectly as he would like for it to, but he didn't fight Earnhardt. Just moved over and let him go, I think. And he said, let me follow him for a while. Maybe he's running a better groove than I am.
Well, Bill Elliott back in 1985 was the first driver to win the Winston Million, as now we see a battle developing for the lead as Rusty Wallace has caught Alan Kulwicki and putting pressure on him as the cars go down the backstretch. Rusty in number 27, second in Winston Cup points, and Alan Kulwicki in number 7 looking to walk off with the Unical Challenge money and amounting to $144,000.
Rusty Wallace would like to lead this race as early as possible to get 5 bonus points that are given for any driver who leads a Winston Cup race. And just in case he should have trouble later on, at least he would have those 5 points in the book.
Well, Alan Kulwicki has led from the drop of the green flag. He's been our only leader so far, but Rusty Wallace is that close to him.
A moment ago, Rusty Wallace pulled up on the back bumper of Kulwicki, and then I'm not sure that Kulwicki didn't run across a slower car, some traffic that caused that situation. Just like J.D. McDuffie, you see there how Darrell Waltrip was trying to get by him, how Brett Bodine and Rick Winston pulled up on his back bumper. Traffic at this place can be horrendous.
Darrell Waltrip has lost a position. He's back in 10th at the moment. That's Brett Bodine, Rick Wilson, and Michael Waltrip trailing him. So Darrell Waltrip has dropped from his starting position of 9th back to 10th.
But you can see how he keeps himself clear of the other cars as much as he possibly can, Bob. And that's good, smart driving. And this is not new for him today. He does that in practically every race, especially on a tough track like this one.
Waltrip using the same motor to win this race that he won the Daytona and the race at Charlotte with, the World 600.
And we see the red and white number 15 right behind Darrell Waltrip. That's Waltrip we see in the shot now. The red and white car behind Darrell Waltrip, driven by Brett Bodine. It was announced here Friday or Thursday, I guess it was, at a press conference. He is going to drive the Quaker State automobile owned by Kenny Bernstein next year.
So there's a lot of pressure on Darrell Waltrip to win this weekend, and we asked Bill Elliott, who won in '85, what's your advice for Darrell?
Darrell knows. I mean, all he's got to do is win a race. It's just plain and simple. It speaks for itself.
It sounds simple, but it isn't. Darrell has his work cut out for him, and you saw the lead change as Rusty Wallace has taken over the top spot from Alan Kulwicki on lap number 18.
Well, he made it look pretty easy as he moved around. He followed him for a while, saw where the best place on the track would be to make that move, and did, and now he has picked up those 5 bonus points as we see car number 16, Larry Pearson, going high, Morgan Shepherd going by on the inside. That's Dick Trickle in car number 84, and Bobby Hillen in car number 8 up in front of them, and Greg Sachs is in the pits. The yellow flag is out. Sachs has been into the wall.
Caution is out for the first time on the Heinz Southern 500 as Rusty Wallace gets it slowed down. We're checking to see exactly what the reason is. It is for debris on the racetrack caused by, as you indicated, Ned, Greg Sachs tangle with the wall. They're working on the right side of the car. You can see they're pounding the sheet metal out from the wheel area, but he did indeed scrape the wall, and debris is on the racetrack. So that's the reason for our first caution in the Heinz Southern 500.
That's the infamous Darlington stripe, damage to the right side of the automobile where it makes contact with the outside retaining wall.
Pit stops coming up.
Here come the leaders in for pit stops as Greg Sachs goes out of the pits. Here comes Rusty Wallace, Alan Kulwicki, Mark Martin, Schrader, Bodine, Elliott, Waltrip, and others in for pit stops. Now let's go to Dick Berggren, who is with Alan Kulwicki.
Well, what they're going to do here is everybody is going to, we've got the 7 car on the bottom, Rusty's on the top. Everybody's going to take 4 tires on this. The hot ticket, they said, no, they're not. Kulwicki has taken 2 tires. He is going to beat everybody on the racetrack. Kulwicki has taken only 2. Everybody else is taking 4. They're taking 4 sticker tires. Rusty is going to follow him out, followed by Hillen in the 8 car, followed by Mark Martin, and then Jeff Bodine. Very interesting pit strategy by Alan Kulwicki here right off the top.
So Waltrip and Gant and Rudd and others go back out onto the racetrack after having changed 4 tires, but Kulwicki only 2.
Well, that is an interesting strategy. And here's the back pits. Boy, everybody coming in over there. There's Kyle Petty and Morgan Shepherd. We'll take a look inside of Hut Strickland's car, the Heinz 57 car, as he gets service on his car. That's Dale Jarrett right in front of him, getting 4 tires on his car. Jerry Punch, how's the tire wear looking today?
Well, Ned, you know, you mentioned Alan Kulwicki only changed right side tires. The reason is that most of the crews feel the left side tires are wearing so well. They watched yesterday during the Busch Grand National event and saw the left side tires wearing almost nil. I mean, nothing at all. And many crews felt that they could go probably 140 or 150 laps on the left side tires. That's 2 gas stops. The right side tires are a different story on the other hand. Right side tires will probably only last about 70 laps maximum and in a fuel stop. So that's what they say down here in the pits. Let's go back upstairs to Benny Parsons.
Under the new NASCAR rule, the people that have to pit on the back straightaway today are going to get killed. We saw Hut Strickland back there. We saw Dale Jarrett back there in the Hardee's Pontiac. It's just a killer back there because the guys on the front straightaway get to pit first. Therefore, they're able to get their service to get back on the racetrack. And then the fellows that pitted on the back straightaway get to make their pits, have to fall in behind all the rest of them.
Yellow is out. 21 laps complete in the Heinz Southern 500. The leaderboard, Dave Marcus on top. Alan Kulwicki is second, followed by Rusty Wallace, then Bobby Hillen and Mark Martin. Running 6 through 10, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant. Now, Alan Kulwicki grabbed the lead at the start of the event and held it until this move by Rusty Wallace.
When in turn 3, the cars go up a little bit high on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace, what a run he got going in turn 3. Just simply turns the car underneath Alan Kulwicki. And Kulwicki, once he gets it, and once Rusty gets in that position, there's nothing Alan Kulwicki can do except what he did do. Back off the throttle, let Rusty Wallace go.
And Benny, we've seen all year long that car number 27 will turn left when he needs to, even when he's in the accelerator. That's a mark of a good handling race car.
Jeff Hammond is wearing the crew cam. He's the crew chief, of course, on Darrell Waltrip's car, and this is how it looked to him when Darrell came in for the tire change.
He's the jack man as well. It goes around to the other side after they get the service on the right side. Now they're changing the left side tires. You can see Bobby looks from the front to the rear to see exactly when those guys are finished. When that jack drops, that's the signal for Darrell Waltrip to take off.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, it was.
But on that right side, it looked like his eyes was on 360-degree rotation or something, like it wasn't hooked to his head. He didn't look back and forth on the right side like he did on the left.
But the time wasn't there to go.
Well,
and when that jack goes down, that's the signal for Darrell Waltrip to take off.
Well, twice Harold Kinder has given the indication to the drivers that they'll go green next time around, but on both occasions he has said, nope, we're going to stay yellow. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Rick Hendrick.
Well, Rick Hendricks stands to gain a lot today, or possibly lose a lot. He's got 3 cars in the field, and Rick, a lot of pressure on you. The Winston Million, obviously that's your car.
Well, you know, it's an honor to be here today to try to win $1 million in a race, and for us to have an opportunity, it's great and it's exciting. But you know, I had my $1 million deal this week when my dad came home and made it from the hospital, and so we're just gonna run this thing today, and I hope all 3 of them do well. And old Darrell, if he can be up in the top 10 with 20 to go, I think we got an awful good shot.
I think they do have a good shot. I would like to say hello to Papa Joe Hendrick, recovering back in Charlotte. We are 24 laps in a 367-lap Southern 500. The leader is Dave Marcus. We're the first caution flag of the day. Can Darrell Waltrip do it? Stay tuned. We'll find out.
24 laps completed, and we are about to go green, but once again we'll review the top 10 for you. Dave Marcus, who did not pit, is the leader. Alan Kulwicki second, then Rusty Wallace, Bobby Hillen, and Mark Martin. Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant make up the second 5. Cars are on the back stretch, and this time around we should be going green. There has been some debris on the racetrack from an incident involving Greg Sachs when he scraped the wall, and then a wrench fell off of a car, causing a further delay. But now the green waves, and we are back to racing at the Heinz Southern 500 on lap number 26. Marcus leads him down.
Well, with new tires on those other cars, they should be able to move around Dave Marcus pretty easily, and Rusty Wallace does.
Rusty Wallace passes both Alan Kulwicki and Dave Marcus in the first and second turns and grabs the lead. Marcus hangs on to second position, but look at Alan Kulwicki in number 7 as he tries to take the position away from him. Kulwicki has second position, Marcus to third, and here comes Mark Martin in car number 6 to try to grab third from Dave.
Boy, new tires make such a difference here at Darlington, at least for the first 4 or 5 laps. And Dave Marcus already had more than 20 laps on his tires. He chose to stay out there, get those 5 bonus points. Look at Dale Earnhardt trying to root under there, but he decided that was not the time to make the move. Now Earnhardt will pull to the inside of the racetrack. Jeff Bodine is hooked right on his back bumper as they head to turn number 1. Earnhardt picks up the 4th position, and here comes Jeff Bodine as Dave Marcus slides high on the racetrack. That's Bill Elliott and then Darrell Waltrip coming along.
Darrell Waltrip passed Bobby Hillen on the inside. That's probably the closest Darrell's gotten to anybody all day, isn't it? Yeah.
You can bet that Darrell's going to be very, very cautious, but on the other hand, he's not going to let people take advantage of him. We can see from Harry Gant's in-car camera, Darrell moved to the inside in turn number 4 and passed Dave Marcus, and now we'll see if Harry Gant can do so down down the front stretch and into turn number 1. He runs side by side with Marcus down into turn number 1 and does grab the spot.
Marcus' car with the hotter tire slid up just a little bit. It gave Gant running room. And every one of those other cars made a pit stop. We were looking out the back of Harry Gant's car into Dave Martin's, the Lifebuoy Chevrolet.
Bobby Hillin is right behind Dave Marcus as now Harry begins to separate himself from Marcus. Bobby Hillin went from 17th to 4th during those pit stops, but he has dropped back since then. And here is Dale Earnhardt going to 3rd position, and Jeff Bodine will come along in car number 5.
Boy, it looked like made it awfully easy there. Mark Martin, maybe his car is not working quite as well. Here comes Bill Elliott down on the inside, so Mark Martin might be having some slight problem. I don't think it's a major problem, but certainly those cars are moving around with ease.
Harry Gant goes by Darrell Waltrip down in turn 1, takes that spot away.
Here comes Ricky Rudd working inside of Dave Marcus for the 9th position.
And that's Ken Schrader right behind Rudd. He's going by Marcus down the back straightaway. And that's Rick Wilson. There we go back to Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine. Alan Kowicki. This is a race for 2nd spot.
Now remember, Kowicki only took on right side tires. Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace and the others took on 4 tires.
And I believe when this deal's over with in about 15 or 20 minutes, Alan Kowicki is going to wish that he had put on 4 tires.
I think you're right, Denny.
He right now holds on to 2nd position, but Dale Earnhardt is putting pressure on him.
Of course, there's one thing different about Alan Kowicki. He owns his own team, and he has to pay those tire bills. So those other guys, somebody else pays the bills.
And he has indicated that he'll be back with this combination next year, Xerox, and driving for his own team. There's some speculation he would be moving to various teams, but he says he's going to stick with it. Now Earnhardt moves inside and passes Kowicki, and Dale Earnhardt has 2nd. Let's see if Jeff Bodine in the yellow and white Levi Garrett Chevrolet can take over 3rd spot, and he does. So Alan Kowicki is back to 4th.
I think what's happening, we saw Mark Martin lose momentum a little bit ago. When these guys are getting high on turn 2 now, they're just losing a great deal of momentum, and therefore the fellows were able to pass them easily.
Rusty Wallace is the leader of the race. He is quite a distance ahead of this group of cars that are pretty much running nose to tail. Here is Rusty as he comes off the 2nd corner, leading the Heinz Southern 500.
And it took Earnhardt and the others a little time to get around the car number 7 of Alan Kowicki, which let Rusty Wallace move ahead. But that car is really working. We have seen him take the lead from Alan Kowicki earlier, so we know that he has a good fast car. Already lapped J.D. McDuffie in the blue car, the Rumpel Furniture car, and Rusty keeps it right down on the inside.
Rusty Wallace 53 points behind Earnhardt in the battle for the Winston Cup. Here is Bill Elliott in number 9, the Coors-sponsored Ford, and Harry Gant.
Bob, we saw Bill Elliott earlier, and it looked like he was backing up. Now they've made a pit stop. Bill Elliott has made an adjustment, and it looks to me like he's running a little bit better than he was earlier.
He'll go to the inside and try to pass Mark Martin. He'll go way inside and go to the left of J.D. McDuffie coming down the straightaway. He puts him away. And now Harry Gant battles on the outside of Bill Elliott in turn number 1.
Whoa, that was quite a chance that Harry Gant took, driving on the outside of Bill Elliott. Whoa.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who has a report on Mark Martin.
Benny Parsons, you said Mark Martin was backing up. Indeed, he is. The problem is that the tires don't match anymore. The car is pushing, it's understeering. That is something that many of the competitors were concerned about here this morning. Why? Because all the practice, and in fact, even most of the testing that went on here at Darlington for this race was done under conditions of hot, sunny weather. That produces a racetrack that's very slick. So they set the cars up to counteract that and try to push a little bit. But we've got an overcast sky today. We've got cool temperatures. Everybody this morning was worried about an understeer, and that is exactly what's bothering Mark Martin.
Well, he's maintaining his position at the moment. We're watching the back of his car from Harry Gant's in-car camera.
You know, Dick Berggren brought up a good point. That may be why Bill Elliott made all those changes this morning, was simply because of the weather.
There's the leader, Rusty Wallace. Let's go to Jerry Punch for a report.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of crews are trying to decide what kind of car to bring to Darlington. Do you bring a speedway car? Do you bring your intermediate track car? Or do you bring a short track car? Because you know you're probably going to get it dinged and beaten throughout the afternoon here as you bounce off cars in these tight corners. Well, Rusty Wallace brought the car that ran at Wilkesboro. In fact, he sat on the pole at Wilkesboro and Pocono and finished second at Pocono. It's the exact same car he raced last Saturday night at Bristol, Tennessee. In fact, they didn't even rub the tire marks off the side of it. So we'll bring the car down here to Darlington and we'll show them a short track car will run here. And I believe they're right.
Well, he's certainly looking good at the moment. Rusty leads the Heinz Southern 500, part of Race Day America here on ESPN, and we'll be right back. And we are now back live to Darlington, South Carolina, in the northeastern portion of the great state. And we are watching Darrell Waltrip's quest for $1 million. Darrell is still in 10th position. He has been in that spot for several laps and just playing it cool.
Yes, he's playing it cool, Bob, and he dropped back a couple of positions. He was in 8th a little while ago, and we have a report, Benny, that maybe his tires is going away a little bit.
I tell you what, his car does not look like it's handling that well now. Darrell Waltrip, I'm sure, very concerned. And look, Dale Earnhardt has gained considerably on Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, those two cars have checked away from Jeff Bodine, who is running third, but we've got a good race leading up there for the lead.
A couple of cars made pit stops while we were away for the IndyCar start there. Dick Prickle had a flat tire, and so did Ernie Irvin. Both of those drivers made unscheduled pit stops, and the late speed car, the Bullseye Barbecue car, about to come in for an unscheduled pit stop.
So you're watching first and second. There's second place, Dale Earnhardt, as he is in pursuit of Rusty Wallace, the leader of the Heinz Southern 500.
Did you see Dale Earnhardt down in the first? If we can just keep on these guys, these two cars. Watch Earnhardt, folks, when he goes down in turn one and goes right up against the outside retainer. Watch Earnhardt going down in turn one. Watch just how close he goes up to that outside retaining wall. Dick Bergen, what's going on with Darrell Waltrip's tires?
What's really going on with Darrell Waltrip is going on with a lot of people here, and that is that they don't have the tire situation quite figured out for the racetrack. Waltrip is pushing a little bit, and believe it or not, so is the leader, Rusty Wallace. On the other hand, Bodine's crew says he's got exactly the opposite problem. He's running a little bit loose. Now realize this is just the beginning of the race, and they're really setting up for the end of the race, trying to figure this thing out. So they're trying different lines, trying different stagger combinations. They can play around with the wedge bolts. It's a long ways to go here, and nobody is thoroughly happy with the setup yet. Jerry Punch, what do you hear at your end of pit road?
Well, you know, Dick, Benny Parsons was talking about the groove that Dale Earnhardt is running, and you folks at home can see it when it goes into the corners. The car grips all the way up against the wall. There's two reasons for that. One, the car's a little bit tight yet, and he can't quite get the car turned. I just talked to Richard Childress and said that they had the car set up for a hot day and a slick racetrack. Well, it's about 20 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, and the track has not gotten slick yet. The other reason, and most importantly, yesterday in the Busch Grand National race, Earnhardt found that groove up high and liked it. He said, hey, I'm going to run that groove all day tomorrow because if something happens with the car, I don't have far to go to smack the wall, and I can't get that hurt that close to the wall. So he's going to stay up there as long as he can, as long as it's beneficial to him running up through the wall. Bob?
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for the reports from the pit area. We continue to watch Dale Earnhardt close in on Rusty Wallace, and he's now within just a couple or 3 car lengths.
Well, Dale Earnhardt would like to lead this race, too, to get those 5 Winston Cup points that we talked about a little bit earlier, because he went into the race leading, and look how high, as Benny pointed out, he does go into that turn, but Benny does give him a good run off of the turn.
Gets him tremendous momentum to go down the back straightaway and make up a great deal of time. Watch him just close in on Wallace going in turn 3. He's now within just a couple of car lengths behind Rusty Wallace.
Now Wallace is on the high groove in the 3rd and 4th turns as we continue to keep the progress of Waltrip, and he may be slowing down. Sterling Marlin goes around on the outside. Now he picks it back up.
I think he just moved over and let Sterling Marlin go. Marlin had been running pretty close on his bumper for several laps. I think he decided to let it go. Now the car number 83 directly behind him is a lap down. He made an unscheduled pit stop. Ricky Rudd is the next car, as the green car, as far as position is concerned. Now the car number 83 of Lake Speed goes by. Here comes Ricky Rudd down on the inside. Darrell not fighting them, as Benny pointed out earlier. That car not handling quite as good as it was earlier. He wants the caution flag so he can get in the pits and get some new tires on the car.
That 83 car that we mentioned, that's driven today by Rodney Combs. Lake Speed drove the car on Thursday some, but turned it over to Rodney Combs, and he's driving the car today and doing a heck of a job.
As a matter of fact, Lake qualified it on Thursday and then turned second day qualifying over to Rodney, and he had the faster speed, and so Combs is starting that number 83 car. Darrell Waltrip is now back into 13th position as Dale Earnhardt makes a bid for the lead, and he just smokes Rusty Wallace.
Boy, he does. He just waited for the back end of that Pontiac to slip up a little bit, and he drove the Chevrolet right under it up in turn 4 and took the lead.
It looked almost like Rusty Wallace passing Alan Kulwicki just a few laps ago. Almost identical the same way.
Dale Earnhardt, the current leader in the battle for the Winston Cup. That also, of course, pays $1 million at the end of the season. He's taken the lead from Rusty Wallace, who was second in Winston Cup points at the moment. So we have a great Southern 500 here for you at Darlington Raceway on Race Day America, and we'll be right back. Back at the Heinz Southern 500, where Dale Earnhardt has the lead over Rusty Wallace, Alan Kulwicki third, Harry Gant fourth, and Mark Martin fifth. That's 57 of 367 laps completed, and there they are, the first two, Earnhardt in number 3 and Wallace in number 27.
You know, Dale Earnhardt caught Rusty Wallace, passed him, and you would expect him to drive away, but that's not happening. Why, Ned, you suppose?
Well, maybe, and I believe I started to say Wallace has picked up the line that Earnhardt was using, and maybe that's allowed him to pick up a little bit of speed, and just enough to let him keep up now.
All right, back in 12th position now is Darrell Waltrip. He has dropped from 9th, where he was running a few laps ago. Let's go to Dick Bergeron, who's with Jeff Hammond,
who's also a crew chief and a cameraman. Right here, you can see that little crew cam that he's wearing on there. Jeff, you guys are backing up a bit. What's the problem?
Right now, Dick, the set of tires we got on the car, presently, the front end sliding real bad. We can't get any front grip with the front tires to make the car turn in the middle of the corner. It's really a problem here at Darlington, because if you can't get the car to turn, you know, you got to wait on the throttle before you can pick it back up to get down the straightaways, and that really slows you down here. So I really hope we're cautious so we can work on the car and change the set of tires.
Well, this is Darlington. They can count on a caution. There are a lot of them at this racetrack.
Normally there are, however, we have only had one so far in the first 60 laps of this 367 lap event. Rusty Wallace looking to the inside of Dale Earnhardt there as they passed a slower car, but Wallace holds back into second position.
I think Ned's right. I think Rusty, when Earnhardt got by him, saw the groove he was running in, moved up into that groove. Look, Mark Martin going by Kulwicki takes a spot away.
That is for fourth position as Mark Martin has gone into fourth. We're watching from Alan Kulwicki's car, the pole sitter for this race. Jeff Bodine is approaching from behind.
So Alan will have to keep his eye on him now that Mark Martin has moved around. And again, Kulwicki only took on 2 tires during the only pit stop they made so far. He took on right side tires. Everyone else took on 4 tires, but now that might have equaled out to some degree because all the tires now being emptied up pretty good.
It does seem to have equaled out quite a bit, although it looks like Kulwicki would have been better off the first 15 or 20 laps if he'd had the left side. But we'll have to see. Maybe he was just trying to figure out to do something for later on in the race.
Mark Martin now in fourth, Kulwicki fifth.
The leading rookie contender, Dick Trickle, has just been in for another unscheduled pit stop. Dick's running good out on the racetrack, but he's had 2 unscheduled pit stops. It was announced here this week. He's been sort of on a race-to-race basis since he got the Stavola Brothers ride back in the early part of the year when Mike Alexander was hurt, and Trickle was named this week to absolutely drive the car for the rest of the year.
Now we again see Rusty Wallace putting a great deal of pressure on Dale Earnhardt, trying to take the lead from him there in the second turn, but could not get the job done. There are 28 cars on the lead lap. You saw just a second ago there that the car that both Earnhardt and Wallace have just passed was Richard Petty. He is in 29th position. There he is in the STP Pontiac.
And that 62 car, the white car, that's driven today by Joe Ruttman. who has been driving the Lake Speed automobile, but this is a car that he's had to the racetrack one other time this year and brought it here to Darlington. Also, Dave Marcus, a blue car, the Lifeboy Chevrolet, being passed by both Earnhardt and Wallace. Earnhardt, the black number 3, Rusty Wallace, the white and green number 27.
Now, that might be a classic example of the tires. Remember, not too long ago, at the restart of this race, Dave Marcus was leading this race. He did not make a pit stop, but now he has gone a lap down.
All the way back to 27th and a lap down for Dave Marcus. Earnhardt continuing to lead with Rusty Wallace running in second position. And we are live at Darlington Raceway for Race Day America and the Heinz Southern 500. We'll be back with more live coverage after this. Harry Gant leads the Heinz Southern 500 here at Darlington Raceway with Rusty Wallace running second. Bill Elliott is third, Mark Martin fourth, and Jeff Bodine fifth, and will reach the halfway point next time around. And there is Gant lapping Rodney Combs in car number 83. Now running in second position is Rusty Wallace. He's maintaining that spot, but the car just doesn't seem to be working well.
No, he's not running as good as he was earlier in the race, Bob. In fact, he's about 9.5 seconds behind Harry Gant right now. As Alan Kulwicki now comes down pit road, I would say this is an unscheduled pit stop as we get the halfway mark, and Dr. Jerry Punch is there.
You're exactly correct, Dan. It is an unscheduled stop for the pole sitter. Kulwicki and Bill Engel and the crew will go beneath the hood of the car. Apparently they have an overheating problem. They have a hose in there connecting some more water to the car. Alan Kulwicki gets himself a cold drink, but the problem is in the engine compartment. Overheating now, steam pouring out the overflow, the radiator. They are trying to add water to the car and refuel the car. Also some smoke also out of the Darrell Waltrip car, we are told. So a tough break for two people who stood to gain a lot of money here at Darlington today. Kulwicki on the pit road with an overheated car and a puff of smoke coming out of the Tide Chevrolet. Tough break.
So the unit count challenge money may go to another race as 10th place Alan Kulwicki comes in, sits helplessly in his car as the crew works on the overheated engine.
I think Darrell Waltrip did exactly what Harry Gant did a little bit ago. I think he's run into the wall down in turn 1 and knocked the quarter panel in on the tire because I see some damage on the right side of the Tide Chevrolet.
There is Waltrip. We'll see if there is any evidence of that smoke now. But Darrell is definitely having a struggle this afternoon. 13th, a lap down as he comes by here. We'll try to get a close look at it. Yeah, there is definitely some smoke coming from the tire.
Yeah, you can see it right there as he went into the turn. There was a little bit of smoke came from it. Boy, he's not getting too close to the wall this time around.
But DW needs to go in the garage area, the pit road, and get that quarter panel or fender knocked off that tire because it doesn't take many laps to rub a hole through the tire.
And his pit crew is standing by waiting for him in case he does come in. I think they're going to leave it up to him. Say, okay, now you're driving the car. How does it feel? They're looking to see if he's coming off of turn 4 down pit road. They're out there ready to go, but not that time.
Dick, what do you hear down there?
I just talked to Jeff Hammond, the crew chief, and he says they're not going to bring him in right away. He says it's not that bad. They're going to let it go. So Waltrip continues to rotate out there. And I'm going to tell you, when that thing first happened, the smiles in this pit turned to absolute frowns. But now everybody is just leaning on pit wall. Very, very tense in the Waltrip Tide pit right now.
Well, he doesn't seem to be running much slower than he was a few laps ago before it happened.
No, I think his speed is still there, okay? And as long as the sheet metal don't rub the hole in the tire, well, then he's going to be okay. Let's say that Terry Labonte has gone into the garage area, out of the race in the Budweiser Ford.
Tough day for the Junior Johnson crew. Meanwhile, here is Harry Gant in car number 33, who is the leader of the Heinz Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway. We'll be right back.
Right now, there's a little bit of smoke showing from under the hood. NASCAR said bring it in just at the same time Jeff Hammond decided to bring him in. Damage to the right front. He has twice scraped the wall. Waltrip sits in the pits, and the motor is dead on that automobile at this point. It does not appear to be running at all. So there it is. Now he's got it fired up again. They're looking underneath the car to see what other problems they might have. And there goes Waltrip.
Well, the crowd releasing its emotions. Some are cheering, some are very sad that Darrell Waltrip has had to come in for that unscheduled pit stop after bumping the wall. And here is a replay of that incident.
He's running right in front of Brett Bodine. And you can see him slipping closer and closer up to the wall, and there he goes into it.
And he almost spun the car as he come off the wall. Oh, we see a lot of smoke in the left rear. Yes, the left rear rubbing that quarter panel badly coming off turn 4.
Just not going the way that Darrell Waltrip wants things to go. He's down 2 laps now, and there's a lot of smoke coming from the car.
But see, that's coming from the left rear, because when he hit the wall, he's knocked the rear housing over, and the left tire is rubbing. They didn't look at that side. Dick Bergen, what did they know the left rear is rubbing?
Waltrip is going to be coming in again. The tire that took off the car is really bent, Benny. You know, the outside rim is bent in, and that means that he's hit the wall very hard. Waltrip's crew is going to bring him in again. You're watching $1 million go away.
Well, here comes Waltrip, and here comes Wallace just ahead of him. So Rusty Wallace, our second-place car, is in for a pit stop on lap number 194. Dick Berggren, call both of them.
I will indeed. Here is Rusty Wallace. He's in at exactly the same time as Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip asked for a drink. Rusty Wallace asked for 4 tires. They're going to put 2 more tires on Waltrip's car. They're banging the left side out so that tire will clear. Waltrip's car must be severely damaged in order for this to be happening. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace still on pit road, taking a 4 tire change. It is also continuing on Waltrip's car. Waltrip leads, and so does Wallace.
They leave the pits at exactly the same time, but because Rusty stopped further down the track, he will be the first onto the racetrack.
You have to stay below that yellow line until they get onto the backstretch and blend into the traffic. And both of them did, of course, stay down there. Didn't violate any rules.
So now Rusty Wallace a lap down. Darrell Waltrip 2 or 3 laps down. Here's Harry Gant, our leader, continuing around the racetrack. Jerry Punch, have you learned something about Harry Gant?
Well, the crew is scrambling around here, and they have 2 tires up on the wall, getting ready possibly to bring Gant in. Gant radioed in and said when he tapped the wall about 15 laps ago, he may have bent the toe in the right front. They're concerned about possibly blistering the right front tire because the toe in, meaning the right front tire is not pointed straight ahead. It's actually towed in to the front of the car. So they are ready to bring Gant in with the next 5 or 6 laps if he would need to come in earlier. He actually could go to about lap 210 according to fuel mileage, but they don't want to risk it, him possibly blowing a tire and hitting the wall here at Darlington.
Well, fellas, Darrell Waltrip problems have not ended. Look at the smoke that's coming from the left rear of the Tide Chevrolet. They didn't, when they changed those tires, that Dick Furious problem. Vinny, I think you're right. I think when he hit the wall, he knocked the rear end over into the sheet metal on the left side, and it looks like tire smoke coming from the left side of the car.
Now, is this going to be something that will take a while to fix?
Yes, they just simply can't beat the sheet metal out enough. They probably will have to go and adjust the bar on the rear of the race car, and we'll show you, we have a track back later on, we'll show you the bar that I'm talking about where you can move that rear end back and forth.
Just a lot of smoke coming from the left rear of the Tide machine, and Darrell Waltrip is seeing his chances of winning $1 million go up in smoke, literally.
Yes, he is. He's given it a valiant effort, but it's just not going to be today.
So Darrell Waltrip is struggling here in the middle stages of the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington. He has completed 199 laps. Next time by, it'll be 200. There'll be 167 to go. And there is the leader of the race, Harry Gant, who is looking very, very strong. In second position now is Bill Elliott. And here comes Gant in for a pit stop. So the leader is on his way to pit road. And Jerry Punch will have this stop by Harry Gant.
Harry Gant follows Ricky Rudd down pit road. Gant pitting about 11 laps early. They were hoping to wait, possibly get a caution because of the problem with the Darrell Waltrip car, showing a lot of smoke still. Crew working on the right side of the car. Andy Petrie, Charlie Presley, Leo Jackson, and the rest of the Skoll crew changing right side tires on the Skoll Oldsmobile. Now, Charlie Presley comes around to the left side. Will slam the Jack from inside car. Left side of the car. Gant throws the cup out of the window. Second down field already in. Darrell Waltrip also coming back on the pit road as Ricky Rudd and Larry Pearson. Now Gant's car is down and away. He will move down pit road as Darrell Waltrip comes back in. 21.9 seconds for Harry Gant. Let's get Dick Berger at the Tide pit. Dick.
Well, they're working on the left rear, and they really need to work on the left rear, Jerry Punch, because it is flat as a pancake. The damage here is such that the tire wore a hole in itself. They're banging away at that fender, trying to square it away. But Benny Parsons, the question I have is, if he's hit that thing so hard he's bent the rear end impossible to drive.
This car's going to be awfully hard to drive, Dick Bergen, because I'm sure he's knocked the housing over at least a half inch. We see him putting it, and Jeff Bodine is right in front of Darrell Waltrip making his pit stop for 4 tires. There they go around to the left side. The tires come off. They're still working on the Waltrip car, still working. There, he's finally back away. And Jeff Bodine follows it out of the pits.
So 2 Hendrick cars now move back out onto the racetrack, and Darrell Waltrip will see if they did correct that problem. Pit stops are being made here at the Heinz Southern 500. Ken Schrader is in. Jerry Punch reports.
Well, they've already changed right side tires on the Folger Chevrolet. Bill Elliott just came in a minute ago and got 4 tires. He has gone back out. Schrader was the leader because Bill Elliott had pitted now. Kenny Schrader is out and away in the Folger Chevrolet. Him coming off pit road will make Dale Earnhardt the leader.
Schrader moves back out. You can see that Waltrip's car is still in the pit area. And there is the new leader, Dale Earnhardt, in car number 3.
And they're, excuse me, Ned, but they're ready for him in the pits, because I tell you what, these guys in the pits today are getting a workout because there's so much action on pit road.
Earnhardt's car a little bit squirrely there in the first and second turns. He keeps the car, though. Now he dives off the banking, and here comes Earnhardt in for a stop. Jerry Punch will report as Dale heads down pit road toward you.
Dale Earnhardt comes roaring in. Will jump awfully fast. He jumps on the brake. He slides almost through his 50. Finally gets the car stopped. Coughlin Myers holding the gas can. Will race up and put the gas can in. There will be 4 tires for Earnhardt. Likewise, the same change for Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, and Kenny Schrader. A 4-tire change. Crew down the left side of the car. David Smith pumps the jack between the under the left side. Kurt Shelburne, the left front tire. Put that second can of fuel in. Clock now winding away on the Dale Earnhardt pit stop. 23.3 seconds. He is down and away. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berger.
Now, Jerry Punch, here's a $1 million tire. You can see where the tire has been rubbed away. This is off Darrell Waltrip's car. They just took this one off. They put another tire on. They ran a few laps. They just had to come in and take that one off, too, because they are still rubbing away at the right rear, left rear tires on Darrell Waltrip's car. Certainly is a disappointment. He has gone down laps. He is virtually out of it for the chance to win that $1 million today.
So Bill Elliott will still be the only driver to have won the Winston Million. He did it in '85. Darrell could have done it today, but it appears as if he will not. The lead is now in the hands once again of Harry Gant as we are live on Race Day America at the Heinz Southern 500. Right now we go back to the Heinz Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina.
And Harry Gant still leading the race, but just a moment ago, Bob Jenkins, he got into the wall once again. We saw him get into the wall a bit earlier. Let's watch him again as he goes into turn 1. Benny, he just gets in there too high again.
And he hits it even harder this time than he did a little bit ago. Some pretty serious damage that time as we see the concrete fly as Harry Gant goes along the wall.
Now, Mark Martin, who was running right behind him, got by him and got back in the lead lap. Mark had gone a lap down on a pit stop, but Harry Gant still leading out there. But there's Mark Martin right in front of him. And Darrell Waltrip continues to have problems. He's back out on the racetrack.
You know, we overheard a radio conversation just a moment ago between Jeff Hammond and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell Waltrip told Jeff Hammond, his crew chief, I'd give $1 million to have his problem fixed.
Darrell Waltrip goes for the million, but he's not going to make it on this Sunday afternoon at Darlington, South Carolina. We'll be back right after this. We hope you're enjoying Race Day America as much as we are bringing it to you. Here at the Heinz Southern 500, it's Harry Gant who has the lead, but he's been into the wall more than once. Jerry Punch will report.
Well, Harry Gant's playing tag with the concrete up in turns 1 and 2, and the crew had talked to him about it. He said, hey, I just cannot get the car to turn the way I like it to. The car is so very tight, it will not turn in the corners. One of the crew members said back, hey, but you can't use the wall to turn it. Said, you know, that's going to wear out the race car. Harry sort of chuckled and said, we know that, but he's apologized to the guys for bouncing off the wall. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berggren.
Jerry Punch, I'm in Rusty Wallace pit, and they are watching the nose of their car very, very carefully. A few laps ago, they picked up a piece of plastic in the grill. There's a lot of plastic flying through the air. The fans apparently have let go here somehow or another, and a piece of it stuck in Wallace grill. That's where the air goes through to cool the car off, so they're worried, and they've instructed Wally, keep your eye on that temperature gauge. If it goes up, we got to fix it.
Well, you can see as he comes down the front straightaway, it does look like, as he passes car number 62 of Joe Ruckman, looks like there's a little something extra on that grill.
Looks like a little bit of plastic on the right side of the grill. Jeff Bird looked in the window of our booth a moment ago. Jeff Bird, one of the representatives of R.J. Reynolds, the Winston brand, who was going to get there. We see the plastic on the right side of the grill. Who was going to give away that $1 million prize to Darrell Waltrip. He came out and just said,
Wipe the
saved
sweat.
$1 million.
We'd like to remind you that as part of Race Day America, the Indy cars are running at the Red Roof Inns 200 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Now, that race is just about to end, but of course, we're not going to tell you who wins. You'll see that race in its entirety beginning at 5 o'clock Eastern Time this afternoon after the conclusion of our race. So the entire IndyCar race at 5 o'clock Eastern Time this afternoon, part of Race Day America on ESPN.
Well, here's our leader, Harry Gant, who still, even after those encounters with the wall, is still out there in the lead and running well.
Ned, does this remind, oh, Harry Gant's in the wall hard that time. Awfully hard in the wall in turn one. Harry Gant, once again, Darrell Waltrip going very slow in the Tide Chevrolet. There's Harry, and he got in the wall extremely hard that time. Let's see if he's going to come in the pits or if he has some damage.
Yeah, he's going to come in, I believe. Well, maybe not. I thought he was slowing down. No, he stays up high on the banking and does not come in, but he did take quite a lick, and Darrell Waltrip is well off the pace just ahead of Harry Gant.
Well, Harry Gant leading, Rusty Wallace second there, 9 cars in the lead lap. Let's watch it again as Harry Gant goes into turn 1, what Benny Parsons was talking about, and Benny, he just slips up and wham, right into the wall.
I think all those black marks up there are his.
Ned, does this remind you of Darlington a few years ago? I mean, this is not like racing we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. We're going back 10 years today.
Well, we are. But most of the Darlington stripe came from turns 3 and 4 back in the earlier days. There was a guardrail all the way around, and you literally ran right up next to that guardrail. We have a caution on the track.
Yellow flag is out. There is oil, apparently.
Yeah, someone's just
spinning over in turn number 2 is Larry Pearson. He may have hit that oil. That was the reason why the caution flag was being waved at the starter stand by Harold Kinder. Larry Pearson, rookie candidate, gets the Chattanooga Chew machine back headed in the right direction, but the yellow flag does come out for only the 3rd time this afternoon in 226 laps.
And I'll tell you, this will be a welcome caution period for a lot of drivers because they need some adjustments on some of those race cars as they were slipping and sliding around, and certainly for Harry Gant.
And here's the tail end of Larry Pearson's spin down to the apron of the racetrack in turn 2.
Larry has had a lot of problems here. He's been in and out the pits. He's had an overheating problem with the Chattanooga Chew Buick. He has run well, but he has made several unscheduled pit stops. And here's Harry Gant, the leader, and you can bet your bottom dollar he'll be coming into the pits.
We have a replay from the in-car camera of Gant into the fence.
Now watch this, folks. Oh, boy. Did he hit it hard or what?
He hit it harder than I thought he did.
But I'll tell you, he's a strong individual.
Here comes Gant now in for the pit stop, and just about everybody else will come in behind him. Jerry Punch will report on Harry's pit stop.
This is the break for Harry Gant. They were getting ready to bring him in anyway and check the car, so it will be a lengthy stop. They're going to check the toe in after they change the tires. Now the crew going to work. Charlie Plessley puts the jack beneath the right side of the car. Andy Petrie over to the right side. Leo Jackson, the car owner now, will check and beat out some of the sheet metal over there. They're wielding a sledgehammer, trying to beat the sheet metal out. Let's go up and check on Rusty Wallace's pit with Dick Berggren.
Jerry, they removed that piece of plastic from the front of the car. Barry Dodson, the crew chief, and Jack Man has already done the right side. Now they're getting ready to do the left side. Jimmy Maycar is the front tire man here. Up to you, Jerry.
Old crew now putting left side tires on Harry Gant's car. He is down and away. 4 tire change for Gant. They have beaten sheet metal out. Let's check back in with Dick Berggren. Dick?
What a drag race down the straightaway here to get out, and Gant beat him out. Gant has managed to beat Rusty Wallace out of the pits.
You know, from our camera there in the pit area, the left side of that number 33 car appears to be unscathed, but you can hardly see the number on the right side. Gant has been in the fence so many times. Here are the top 10 with 230 of 367 laps completed in the Heinz Southern 500. Harry Gant the leader, Rusty Wallace second, Jeff Bodine runs third, Bill Elliott fourth, and Dale Earnhardt is fifth. In sixth position is Ken Schrader. Mark Martin runs 7th. Ricky Rudd is 8th. Bobby Hillen 9th. And in 10th position is Sterling Marlin. There are 9 cars on the lead lap. And we are still under caution because of oil on the racetrack and a spin over in turn 2 involving Larry Pearson. There is Harry Gant, the leader, and here is Darrell Waltrip, who is catching up with the field after having come in for another pit stop, and Darrell has pretty much now seen his chances of winning the $1 million go away.
Yep, I think it's gone down the drain now for Darrell.
There is Harry Gant.
Well,
and you can see now the left side appears to be okay, but look at the right side.
boy, he's worn that right side out. That's the way you used to do them here, Benny. You're right. Many years ago, before they changed the track in turns 3 and 4, you just literally ran right up next to the guardrail. And if you didn't wear your car out and look about like that, you was not getting around this racetrack at a very good speed. But that's all supposed to have changed over the years, but Harry Gant apparently didn't tell him.
It's not changed for Harry.
Rusty Wallace did beat Harry Gant out of the pit, so Rusty is going to be the leader when we go back to green at the Southern 500. That will be in just a moment. NASCAR racing today at the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. One of the first traditional races for NASCAR on Labor Day weekend. And now, here are the top 5 with just about 70 more laps to go. It's Earnhardt leading with Rusty Wallace second. Ricky Rudd is running third. Jeff Bodine is fourth. And Harry Gant running in fifth position. And there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, as he is on his way to a victory here at Darlington this afternoon. Now, Darrell Waltrip, who came into this race with a chance of winning $1 million, will not win that this afternoon, as he is about 7 laps down to the field.
Earnhardt with new tires running very nicely out there.
Let's take a look at a pit stop summary and how everybody did during this most recent set of pit stops, as we have a caution flag on the speedway. Wallace came in first, out second. Earnhardt second to first. Rudd stayed the same. Gant lost a position, and Schrader lost 2 positions. The caution is coming out. It's not because of an accident, at least that we can see, perhaps just some debris on the racetrack, but nevertheless our 4th caution period of the afternoon as Harold Kinder displays it. And will we see some more pit stops? Now, they just completed some pit stops, but they have to have one more, do they not, before the end of this race?
Yes, they'll have to have one more for gas at least, and they might be able to go from here on, though. But when they made their pit stops a little while ago, they would not have been able to go the rest of the way. So now they'll probably come in and will be able to go the rest of the way. How about it, Jerry Punch?
Well, you know, Ned, you're exactly right. They probably have gone no more than around 60 or 62 laps on tires all day long. They would have to go 60, 67 laps to completion of the race. They could make it about 60 on tires, but they could go actually 70 laps on gas. Here's Rusty Wallace and Earnhardt down pit road. Earnhardt skids to a stop, and it will be a tire change. They cannot get the air hose over to the right side of the car. He slid almost out of his pit lane, and he is here now getting right side tires. It will be 4 tire changes to the Earnhardt car. Let's go down to Dick Berger.
Jerry, they're doing the same thing here with Rusty Wallace's car. They're also going to change 4 tires. You can see it on the crew cam. The crew cam is doing the left rear tire right now. Boom, on it goes. The big game here is who's the first one to go off pit road. So far, it looks like it's going to be Rusty Wallace, and it is. Earnhardt's away, but it's no good. Rusty's picking it down pit road.
Trying to gain momentum coming out of the pits, but is going to have to fall in behind Rusty Wallace as Rusty wins the battle out of the pit area. By the way, the reason for the caution, number 71, Dave Marcus, had some contact with the wall in the backstretch. Nothing serious, but it was enough to cause another caution period. So the field is going to reline behind the pace car, and we'll be back with hopefully a restart of this Heinz Southern 500. Now we go back to the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. Ned?
And Harry Gant has made several pit stops here during this caution period. We are still under caution here as a result of the situation with Dave Marcus on the backstretch. Let's go to the pits, and what is going on with Harry Gant's car, Dick Berger?
Well, they've been working on the adjustment of the front end, trying to get the thing towed in, towed out correctly. Now, ordinarily, a 1/16 of an inch is an awful lot. Rusty is also coming in. A 1/16 of an inch is an awful lot, but they just changed it to half inch. And the reason they're Rusty just came in was earlier their crew told me they could not go 67 laps. That was on lap 300 when they fueled up last time. Now it's 304. Now he can. That's all they did was top off the fuel. So Rusty should be able to go the distance now.
And you can see that Bill Elliott also made a pit stop, and so did Ricky Rudd. So most of the top cars have come in to top off the fuel tank. They'll gamble, I guess, Benny, as far as the tires are concerned. Jerry Punch has said about 60 laps is all they can go on a set of tires.
Yeah, they're going to gamble. Here's Darrell Waltrip in the pits one more time, and his shot for $1 million gone away. Poor Darrell Waltrip.
Still working
you
on
got
that
to feel for the guy. He had a shot, one race, $1 million if he could just won, but they're still under the car trying to adjust the front end. Okay, folks, lay down those remote controls. We're going to have some commercials. We may have a test.
One lap has been completed under green, and Dale Earnhardt leads the Heinz Southern 500. Rusty Wallace is in second position, and then comes Mark Martin.
Jeff Bodine.
I'm sorry. We're in the Heinz car of Hut Strickland out the back glass. Rusty Wallace is right behind him. Now Jeff Bodine is in second.
9 cars still in the lead lap.
Mark Martin is third, then Ken Schrader, and then Rusty Wallace.
Ooh, look at Rusty come up on Hut Strickland down in turn 1. Looks inside. No, he decides not to go inside. They're both accelerating. And Hut Strickland moves over and let Rusty Wallace, the faster car, go by on the outside as he should.
The 9 cars that are in the lead lap, Dale Earnhardt leading, Jeff Bodine second, Mark Martin third, Ken Schrader fourth, Rusty Wallace fifth, Bill Elliott sixth, Ricky Rudd seventh, Bobby Hillin eighth, and Harry Gant in 9th position.
We should give a call to the Jeff Bodine pit crew because he went in running about 5th and came out in 2nd spot. So Waddell and those guys did a super job on that last pit stop by Jeff Bodine.
There's the interval between the leader, Dale Earnhardt, and second place, Jeff Bodine.
Now Mark Martin is very close on Jeff Bodine. Martin in the blue throws light forward, number 6. The yellow car of Jeff Bodine running in second place. Earnhardt pulls away a little bit from the second and third place car. Kenny Schrader, you can see him come into the picture in the red car back there. He's running in 4th place.
I wonder where Mark Martin came from. Then I remembered that a bunch of cars made their pit stops and then came back in 3 laps later just to put that other gallon of fuel in there. Mark Martin and Jeff Bodine, 2 cars who did not come back in, so it might be close on gasoline for those 2 cars.
Mark Martin is starting his 4th Southern 500. His best finish is 17th in 83. Looking for his first Winston Cup win. He's recorded a couple of second-place finishes earlier this year. Right behind Mark Martin is Ken Schrader in car number 25, and he begins to close in now on Mark.
And he did come back in for just a little bit of fuel and also a chassis adjustment. Made a slight chassis adjustment on the Folger Chevrolet. Might be enough to get him to the front. We'll see.
It's interesting that the 2 of the 3 Rick Hendrick cars are running in the top 5, except the one that Darrell Waltrip wanted to be running in the top 5.
Yeah, the man that had a shot at $1 million. And right now, Darrell Waltrip is running 7 laps down in 21st position.
So no chance for the $1 million this year, and that means that still only 3 drivers have captured 3 of the 4 races in NASCAR's crown jewels. Leroy Yarborough, David Pearson, and Bill Elliott. We'll be back with more right after this. Thank you, Ken, and we will continue to have reports from you throughout the afternoon. Right now, we'll give you a full field summary at the end of 315 laps here in the Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. The leader of the event is Dale Earnhardt.
And he has a piece of paper on the front of his grill, as we saw earlier on Rusty Wallace's car. It doesn't look like that it would affect him that much, but certainly will shut some air off of going into the radiator. You can see the balance of the cars. Those are the 9 cars in the lead lap. Sterling Marlin 1 lap down, so is Morgan Shepherd and Michael Waltrip.
And let's talk about Jeff Bodine Dale Earnhardt is just going to pass by Jeff Bodine in just about a second or two. When we left you a little bit ago, Jeff Bodine was running second. He has evidently lost a cylinder or had some problem. He has slowed dramatically and now is a lap down in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
And he was running in second place when he slowed down, Benny. He just now went a lap down to Dale Earnhardt. And so his hopes have gone out the window, it looks like, as far as a victory here today.
And you're seeing a race recap and those that have dropped out of competition. And now we focus in on Dale Earnhardt leading the Heinz Southern 500. Dale looking for his third win of the 1989 Winston Cup season, and if he should win, he will add to his points lead in Winston Cup competition. He came in 53 ahead of Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip, we remind you once again, is about 7 laps down because of many problems that he has had during this race and has no chance of winning the Winston Million. And likewise, pole sitter Alan Kulwicki dropped out of competition earlier, and so the Unocal money goes up to $7,600 more.
I'm afraid to add those numbers in your head, right, Jenkins?
Not at this point in the afternoon, no.
But we can still see that piece of plastic on the front of Dale Earnhardt's car, but it hasn't slowed him down any.
It doesn't appear to be positioned over the radiator as much as Rusty's was.
No, and evidently not shutting off as much air, so he's still running very strong.
Mark Martin, the car is running in second place. He is not able to gain on Dale Earnhardt. He's staying about the same. As a matter of fact, Earnhardt might have pulled away from Mark Martin just a little bit. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace has moved up into third spot and Ken Schrader back into fourth.
Let's watch Earnhardt see if he's going as high as he had. Well, he went into the turn. Here's Bill Elliott and Harry Gant battling for position. They're battling for the 6th and 7th position. Bill Elliott currently running in the 6th position. Harry Gant running in 7th position.
And Bobby Hillen is shown in 8th, and he is the last car on the lead lap. Elliott, number 9, and Gant at number 33.
You've just joined our telecast. Harry Gant in the Skull Bandit Detroit Gasket Oldsmobile. You're looking from inside his car now. Early on in the race was one of the most dominant cars here, but he had some contact down in the first turn wall 3 times today, and they made some repairs the last pit stop, adjusted the front end, so that's one reason he's back in 7th spot.
And we're now inside the number 57 car of Hut Strickland. The Heinz race cam. We're looking out the back glass of that car.
That's Dick Trickle in the RLI Buick. Tries to make a move on Hut, can't make it.
Hut running about 18th place.
The race winding down here in Darlington, South Carolina. Can Dale Earnhardt hold on and win the Heinz Southern 500? Back at the Heinz Southern 500, part of Race Day America. Just 37 more laps to go in this one. Dale Earnhardt leads with Mark Martin second, Rusty Wallace third, Ken Schrader fourth, and Ricky Rudd running in 5th position. Now, there is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, but not all that far behind is the 2nd place machine driven by Mark Martin. And there you can see the interval. Martin appears to be closing in. Let's go to Dick Bergeron and the crew chief on this car.
Well, Steve, you've had 3 second-place finishes in 1989. I know you want the win badly, but can you win? How can you overhaul Earnhardt?
I don't know. The 3 car's awful stout right now. Rusty's coming pretty good behind us, and if you look close, Ricky Rudd is running awful fast. So what we're planning on is typically in this race, the 3 car has not got the fuel mileage that's going to get it to the end of the race. We think the 3 has to stop for gas. If so, maybe we'll win by default, but we sure enough give them away like that. We'd have to take it.
Are you sure you have enough gas to go all the way?
Oh, we're never sure, but we're going to take a heck of a shot at it. We're not going to stop for fuel until it runs out.
That's the story with the 2nd-place car. Jerry, what are the leaders going to do?
Well, let's check in with Richard Jones. Richard, some of the cars chasing Dale Earnhardt think you may have to stop for gas again, and they're going to get a shot at winning it if you do. What do you think?
Well, we just have to see. We got it figured. It ought to go the limit, and that's all.
How about the tires? How about the tires?
Well, the tires are going to be real close. A while ago, you know, we're burning the right rear up pretty bad.
A lot of concern here in the Goodrich pit. They may be able to make it on fuel. Remember, they did not come back in and top up their tanks, as did Schrader and Wallace and others. Earnhardt stayed out, so he will have to go at least 4 laps further than anyone else if they will make it the distance on fuel.
Well, that is the question at the moment. Will these leaders have to stop for fuel? You can only think about what happened at Daytona as far as the Mark Martin car is concerned, running out with about 5 laps to go. Meanwhile, we have a battle here between number 9 and 33. That's Bill Elliott and Harry Gant battling for 6th position, and we're watching that from out the back class of the Heinz car driven by Hut Strictly.
Hut has been able to stay in front of those 2 cars for quite a while.
And here's the view that Harry Gant has, as Bill Elliott is ahead of him.
Bill Elliott sitting there between the 2 camera cars. Here's the Heinz car again as we look out the rear view of him into Bill Elliott. So Bill right in the middle of the picture.
That has settled down now. It doesn't appear as if Gant is in a position to mount a challenge to Elliott for the 6th position. Now Harry looks to the inside of Bill. As they come off the corner, Gant settles back behind Elliott.
Benny, we've been talking about going into turn 1 down there and how high they're running going into that turn. Now, one thing that's happening now that we haven't seen all day long is that they're running into the sun going into that turn, and that makes it all click up.
I tell you, it makes it almost impossible going into turn 1. That you just simply cannot see the outside retaining wall now, and we probably will see some more people run into it before the race is over. Harry Gant, he's certain. Bill Elliott is going to try to go by Hut Strictly now. He makes it. Comes off turn 4 down the front straightaway. Harry Gant looks to the inside. I don't know if he'll be able to get by or not. Yes, Hut backs off and they go in side by side.
And from the bumper cam from Harry Gant's car, we're looking back on Strickland and Morgan Shepherd in 75.
See how close Hut runs to the wall going down the backstretch, then dips down to the inside, then drifts up again, close to the wall as he gets into the turn.
And the leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt. Widening out to show you the interval between 1st and 2nd, and there is Mark Martin back in the runner-up spot. And now Ricky Rudd is trying to take over 4th position from Ken Schrader. Schrader in 25 and Rudd in 26.
Well, now Ken says, hey, you know, I got us in numerical order here. 25 comes before 26. You shouldn't be out in front of me, but Rudd don't think anything about that.
Now watch Ricky Rudd go in high on the racetrack and just turn under if he does it like he's been doing. Watch that. Oh my goodness, how fast he comes off that 2nd corner.
Now Rudd will pull alongside down the backstretch, and Rudd is going to take away the position from Ken Schrader, so Rudd moves to 4th.
It looks like that Ricky Rudd's car is about equal to all the rest of them up in 3 and 4, but down in 1 and 2, he just kills them. And Ned, watch him go in turn 1. I'm not sure if it's not his entry into the corner. See how much higher he goes in than everyone else? I'm not sure that he hasn't found him a groove up there that's better.
I think he has, and that allows him to cut left when he comes off of that turn. He goes in higher and lets him make the turn a little bit quicker than others, and it could be that at this point of the race, it certainly is working for him right now, because look how far away he is pulled from Kenny Schrader.
And there's Rusty Wallace, a 3rd place car directly in front of Ricky Rudd. So I would say that Ricky Rudd is going to catch him before long.
And let's watch him again as he goes into this turn. As you said, he goes in very high, even though he's going into the sun. But watch him cut left now, and he comes down to the inside of the racetrack coming off there and picks up a lot of time.
But he is indeed catching Rusty Wallace for the 3rd position. It's Earnhardt leading, and Mark Martin running 2nd. Ricky Rudd closing in on Rusty Wallace for third position. We'll be right back. Leaders when we went into this event included Earnhardt, Wallace, Martin, Waltrip, and Allison. And here's how they are running in the race here this afternoon. Earnhardt is first, Wallace third, Martin second, Waltrip 21st, and Allison 20th. So you can see the first three positions aren't going to change very much if they finish in the order they're running right now. Now the top five with just about 22 more laps to go. It's Earnhardt leading with Mark Martin second, Rusty Wallace third, followed by Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader running fifth.
Darrell Waltrip could take a licking on $2 million today. Not only the Winston million, but also the $1 million you can win for the Winston Cup Point Championship, because he's taking some serious blows today back in wherever position he's running his way back. I know that.
About 21st.
Meanwhile, it is Ricky Rudd in number 27 who is still closing in on Rusty Wallace for the third position.
Yeah, when he passed the Ken Schrader car, he was pretty far behind Rusty Wallace, but he now has run him down. Wallace running in the third position. Ricky Rudd trying to take it away. So Rudd definitely on the move.
If Ricky Rudd is going to win the race today, he'll have to get by Wallace in a rush. He can't afford to mess around with him too many laps, because, and you see the problem.
Wallace got loose.
He almost spun the car coming off the second corner. Rudd pulls up on the outside. Now let's see. Oh, how beautifully that worked for Ricky Rudd, able to drive by with no problem at all.
Yeah, Rusty was sideways, Aaron, too.
He sure was. So it let Ricky pass him very with ease, and didn't, as Benny was about to say, he needed to get around him in a hurry. Well, he got around him in a hurry, thanks to Rusty's little sideways move there.
So now we have Rudd in third, Wallace in fourth. Second is Mark Martin, and the leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt. We will take a look once again at how Rudd took over third position from Wallace. Watch Wallace get almost completely sideways coming out of two.
And Rudd saw what was happening, took advantage of it, moved right up on the outside. But he had to have a lot of confidence that Rusty Wallace was not going to spin that car, because when he made that move to the outside, if Wallace does spin, he's going to back it into the wall and he'll catch Rudd. But Rudd had a lot of confidence in it.
You're right. There was going to be two cars in that wreck. There's Dale Earnhardt, our leader. The Goodrich Chevrolet continues to lead. Ricky Rudd may be the fastest car on the racetrack now, but I don't know that he's got enough time to catch. There's Mark Martin, the second place car. I don't know that he has time, that Ricky Rudd has time to catch Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin.
Martin looking for, as we said, his first Winston Cup win. What do you think is the best strategy for winning a race here at Darlington?
You know, there's two ways to win these things. You can luck into them, or you can go out and drive to the front and drive away and win them. We hope to win either way. We work every week to try to make the Stroh's Light Thunderbird strong enough that it can drive to the front and drive away. We hadn't accomplished that, but we've run good enough to win races on a lot of occasions, and so we look at it from both ways. You know, we hope to win the race. We hope to have a fast enough car to win the race, but lightning bolt speed doesn't win these races. You know, sometimes it does, but it doesn't always. So if we don't have the field by 0.2 of a second, we're not too shook up about it.
Well, not only is he going for his first win, but Mark Martin is also in the hunt for the Winston Cup Championship, third in points when we went into this Southern 500. Now, here's an interesting story. Michael Walton at number 30. The Country Time Lemonade Pontiac computer racing simulator was stolen from a hotel last Sunday. Now, it resembles this car that's on the racetrack. And many of you fans who have been at the racetrack and gone into the simulator know that it's a real experience. If you see the thing on the road or know of its whereabouts, you're asked to call the team owner, Chuck Ryder, at 704-377-6991. All cars will be kept confidential. They're looking for that Country Time simulator that was stolen last weekend.
What would you do with it if you had it?
I don't know. I guess you would play in it.
Yes. Well, that's unfortunate, because it had become a fan favorite around the country as they took it to different parts of the country to be on show so the fans would get an opportunity to get inside the experience of driving a race car.
And Michael Waltrip, by the way, is 2 laps down in 11th position. We're winding down the Southern 500 here at Darlington Raceway. We'll be back right after this. Back at the Heinz Southern 500, the Keystone race in ESPN's Race Day America on this Labor Day weekend, and you're watching Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet number 3 leading, and he'll have 10 more laps to go when he comes down this time. The question is, does he have enough fuel to complete the distance?
Historically, this car gets less fuel mileage than any car on the circuit. I don't know. It's going to be a very, very close situation of whether Earnhardt can make it or not. Probably any car out there that is a contender now can make it. The only question mark is Earnhardt.
He has a 2 4/10-second lead over Mark Martin. Certainly that's not enough that he can come into the pits and go back out. But it's a fairly comfortable lead right now.
Second place belongs to Mark Martin, and there he is. You know how much racetrack there is between first and second.
And the interval stayed about the same that last time around 2 4/10 seconds. So they're maintaining about the same speed. Earnhardt still going up close to the wall when he goes into turn 1.
A great record for Dale Earnhardt here at Darlington. 3 of the last 7 races.
You know, his dad, Ralph Earnhardt, was inducted into the National Motorsports Press Association Hall of Fame at a banquet here in Florence, South Carolina, adjacent to Darlington, a city that's adjacent to Darlington, I should say. And that was a great night for Dale Earnhardt and his family. And Jerry Cook, of course, also was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
We saw 2.3 seconds separating first from second position. That's Davey Allison, by the way, right ahead of Mark Martin. His car is smoking just a little bit. We'll follow Earnhardt down the back straightaway and get another interval between the two and see how they compare.
This time by, there will be 7 laps to go for Earnhardt. Just about 10 miles if his car will just last. That's only about 2 gallons of fuel. Here comes Martin.
Shaved a couple of tenths off, but I'm not sure he can take the lead from Earnhardt unless Dale runs out of fuel.
Yeah, actually he lost just a little bit that time, but I think it was as a result of passing Davey Allison when he came off of turn 4. So we'll check him the next time around as Dale Earnhardt goes around Dale very hard as Pontiac.
The 9 and the 33 car are battling for position. That's for 6th, and it involves Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. Inside Harry Gant's car as he pulls to the inside of Bill Elliott on the front stretch.
Almost as if he waited until we got back there with the camera turned on and said, well, I believe I'll go ahead and make the pass now.
But watch Bill Elliott. He's coming back on the inside of Harry Gant. They're side by side off turn 4, and they touch.
Oh, boy, do they touch. Wow, boy, Elliott really got into the side of Gant.
Yeah, that could have taken both of them out there very easy, but being good professional race drivers, they were able to hang on to him. So Gant takes over the 6th position. Bill Elliott now 7th. Got a lot of cars running in the lead lap here, fellas, as fast as they've run, and as many green flag laps as we've run here today.
We're about to break a 16-year-old record in terms of speed. Cale Yarborough's 1973 race record here at the Southern 500 is 134.033. We're on record pace of 134.7. Here's the bump between Elliott and Gant.
But they're both out of control. Harry Gant was out of control up in the middle of the corner, and then Bill Elliott got out of control as they came off the corner.
This is Harry Gant's bumper cam as we look back at Bill Elliott. Again, Darrell Waltrip had a bad day here at the Southern 500 today, will not go home with $1 million in his pocket. There are 4 laps to go in the Southern 500. Earnhardt is the leader. Earnhardt has already picked up 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, and if he can win this race, he will certainly put himself in a good position to win another Winston Cup.
He has been losing a few points here of late, Bob, but today it looks like he's going to gain some points. Mark Martin still about 2.5 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt, so it hasn't been much of a change since we clocked them 4 or 5 laps ago.
Dale Earnhardt's 1987 win here in the Southern 500 came when rain stopped it after 275 miles. But this time it appears as if it's going to go the distance, and Dale Earnhardt is going to chalk up win number 2 in this great, historic, and traditional race. Check the interval once again between the first and the second cars.
Well, it has closed down now, 1 and 4/10 seconds.
Yeah, it has, but we only have 2 more laps to go. They will get the white flag next time around, and Mark Martin may be on his way to finishing second for the 3rd time in 1989.
He's had a great run here today, no doubt about it.
So have several drivers. Harry Gant has had a fine day. Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Elliott, Bobby Hillen has had a great run, but unfortunately Darrell Waltrip did not have a good day. The white flag comes out, and we are on the final lap of the 1989 version of the Heinz Southern 500. Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, now has just about 1/2 lap to go before he becomes a 2-time winner of this great event. Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet takes the car to the middle of the racetrack in turns number 3 and 4. He comes off of corner number 4 looking for the checkered flag. The fans are on their feet. He waves to them. The checkered flag is out, and Earnhardt wins the Southern 500. And the Richard Childress crew celebrates. There's Richard Childress on the left side of your screen. And it's a big step toward the Winston Cup.
It certainly is. The momentum means a great deal. Picked up some extra points on everybody behind him. He led the most laps, so that gave him the 5 bonus points, plus winning the race. And he's in great shape.
Let's go down to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Richard Childress. He owns the car that just won this race. Richard, how nervous were you about fuel at the end?
I was holding my breath. I didn't think we could make it. You know, we knew, Kirk told me it takes 21.3, and we'd been picking up 21.5, so we knew it was right on the money.
A lot of the teams at the other end were wondering if you were changing 2 tires on some of those pit stops. You were so fast. How much did this crew contribute to the win today?
Well, you know, Dale did a fantastic job. Anytime you run here and do like that and not get in trouble, you know, he done a great job. The crew did a great job all day. I'm proud of them all.
And they're going to head to victory lane right now, Bob Jenkins. This is a very happy bunch.
The Heinz Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway has been won by Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin 2nd, Ricky Rudd 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th, and Ken Schrader finishes in 5th position.
Dale Earnhardt climbs out in a victory celebration here at the Heinz Southern 500 and gets a big swig of Gatorade. Dale, partner, I know you're out of breath. Congratulations on an outstanding effort this afternoon.
Well, you know, thank the Lord for a good, safe race. This GM Goodwrench car ran good. Richard and the crew did a good job. Damn, I was praying there at the end.
A lot of concern over the tires, that possibly the tires wouldn't make it 67 laps.
I was worried more about the gas.
Truly fitting as he reaches up here and gets Taylor Nicole, his young daughter, and gives her a big hug here in victory lane. What a sweetheart. Dale, a family weekend here for you. Truly fitting that you would win here after your father, Ralph Earnhardt, was inducted into the Hall of Fame last night.
Well, we won this one for him. He was riding with us all the way. I think he brought us home with our gas.
Dale Earnhardt, the current Winston Cup point leader, will expand on that point lead today after winning the Heinz Southern 500. Now we'll get to the ground and get his breath. He is totally exhausted, and they will get some Gatorade in him, and he will get a little bit of air, but an outstanding effort. Let's go up to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Darrell Waltrip, and he is absolutely surrounded with reporters. You can still manage a smile somehow. What got your problem started, Darrell?
Well, we wasn't running too good there to start with, and so we made a 4-tire change on the green and come back out, and we were right there with Harry and Dale. Dale had a problem. I was racing with Harry. I just felt that I had to make my move then. If I'm going to get back in the lead lap, if I'm going to have a chance at the million, I got to stay with Harry and try to get around him and get back in the lead lap. And lo and behold, he hit the wall in turn 2 and got his car all messed up. And I thought, gosh, this is going to work great. I'm going to be able to get around him. So I was trying too hard. I just was trying too hard. And I got the car up high down there in turn 3 and 4. And there's a bump down there, and it hit that bump and bounced itself into the wall. Everything was okay. I didn't lose that much time, didn't tear up anything that badly. A little smoke, but no problem. But then I really was trying too hard for the condition the car was in. I should have backed off, bided my time, got it fixed, and went back at them at a later date, only one lap down. Come right through there, did the same thing again a few laps later, and it hurt it pretty badly that time. So, you know, turn 4 owes me $1 million, any way you look at it.
Well, he's got a later date coming. He's still got a chance at $1 million to be the Winston Cup champion. Darrell Waltrip here in the pits waving bye-bye to everybody. Bob?
All right, thank you, Dick. Here are the top 10 finishers this afternoon in the Heinz Southern 500. Earnhardt, Martin, Rudd, Wallace, and Schrader. 6 through 10, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, Bobby Hillen, Morgan Shepherd, and Sterling Marlin. We aren't finished yet. We've got a lot more activity for you on Race Day America. We're going to conclude things here at Darlington. We will be back with you, though. For right now, the next on our schedule is the Red Roof Inns 200 from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.